Alien Grandma and her top-secret recipe. Billy never suspected that his grandma was a galactic criminal. But now he stood in the middle of their family spaceship as red alarm lights flashed around him. The siren wailed, and a message blinked on the screen. Warning! Dangerous culinary formula detected. Galactic Patrol deployed. Grandma, what did you do? Billy whispered, inching toward the exit. I just baked a pie, dear. Grandma Luk'ra smiled. Outside, the flashing lights of patrol ships filled the void. They were surrounded. This is because of a pie? This recipe is too powerful to fall into the wrong hands. Grandma snapped a tentacle. To the kitchen! We have 3 minutes to hide the key ingredient. Billy dashed after his grandma into the kitchen module. The floor trembled beneath him. The patrol had already begun docking with their ship. Explain to me before we get arrested. What's so special about this recipe? Billy shouted, dodging a flying teapot. The secret is in a very special spice, dear. Grandma Luk'ra deftly flipped open a hidden compartment in the floor and pulled out a small, gleaming jar. Billy leaned in to read the label. Dust of the Immortals. Is this poison? Worse. Grandma shook her head. Anyone who eats my signature dish becomes so happy that they refuse to fight, work, or pay taxes. Oh, Billy swallowed nervously. See? The Galactic Government can't allow that. If my pie spreads, the entire economy will collapse. Billy imagined a vast galactic empire where happy citizens lounged on beaches, sang songs, and were too lazy to mine resources. No wonder they were after Grandma. But why did you even bake it? I just wanted you to try it. Grandma sniffled. You're my favorite grandson. At that moment, a metallic voice echoed from the corridor. The ship is surrounded. Surrender immediately. Grandma Luk'ra flung open a cupboard, shoved the jar into Billy's hands, and whispered, Take care of it, dear. If anything happens to me, the recipe must survive. Billy stared in horror as the kitchen hatch was blown off with a deafening blast. In the doorway stood stern-faced agents of the Galactic Patrol. Luk'ra Grok, you are under arrest for a culinary crime of intergalactic proportions. For what? Grandma huffed. For talent? The agents frowned. One of them, with 3 antennas and an especially nasty expression, stepped forward. You are a threat to the entire economic order of the universe. Show us the secret ingredient. Billy felt the jar heat up in his hands. He looked at Grandma, then at the agents. And before he even knew what he was doing, he opened it. A heavenly aroma filled the kitchen, making everyone's knees buckle. The agent with antennas took a deep breath, his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed with a blissful smile. The rest of the patrol hesitated. Then, one by one, they inhaled the scent, unable to resist. What beauty! One agent mumbled, dropping his blaster. Maybe forget duty? Should we try the pie instead? Grandma gave Billy a satisfied wink. 5 minutes later, the ship's kitchen had turned into a grand banquet hall. The patrol officers, even their stern commander, who had tried to resist at first, were stuffing themselves with pie, purring with delight. Well, dear, Grandma patted Billy on the shoulder. Now you know that good always triumphs, especially when it's soaked in vanilla syrup. But what now? Billy whispered. Now, dear, we run before they snap out of it. She grabbed Billy's hand, scooped up the rest of the spice jar, and they bolted for the escape pod. Billy and Grandma Luk'ra burst into the escape pod, slammed the hatch shut, and Grandma immediately started pressing buttons on the control panel. Setting coordinates for a random jump, she announced. Are you sure? What if we end up in a black hole? Better there than back with the tax collectors. The pod lurched, then accelerated sharply, followed by the blinding flash of a hyperspace jump. We did it! We escaped! Billy cheered, throwing his arms up. Don't relax just yet. Grandma peered out the viewport, adjusting her headscarf with a tentacle. The Galactic Government won't give up that easily. I've been through this before, back when I invented marshmallows that made people kind. They erased the entire batch. Seriously? Yes. Can you imagine what would happen if people stopped being rude to each other on public transport? Complete chaos. The pod exited hyperspace, revealing a breathtaking sight, a massive planet shimmering with golden and turquoise hues. Where are we? Billy asked. Grandma scratched her chin thoughtfully with a tentacle. Oh. What oh? This is the legendary black market for contraband spices. Billy stared at the planet, suddenly uneasy. Are you sure this is a safe place for us? Quite the opposite. They'll definitely be looking for us here. But? She raised a tentacle. If anyone can help us save my recipe, it's the underground culinary rebels. A few minutes later, they landed on a grimy spaceport platform, where the air was thick with the scent of spices, fried worms, and suspicious caramel smoke. Listen carefully, dear, Grandma whispered, adjusting her headscarf. This place has its own rules. If someone offers you extra spicy pepper, say no. If they offer you a safe omelet, say no even louder. They stepped into the bustling market, and immediately, vendors swarmed them. Fresh dragon milk. Keeps you energized for 5 years. Garlic pills against vampires. 50% effective. No guarantees. Elixir of infinite patience. Results may vary, or maybe you just didn't wait long enough. Luk'ra? A voice, full of shock, rang out from across the street. From behind a stall selling pickled snails, an elderly alien with 4 arms, enormous eyes, and an apron reading, Chef, emerged. Ramsey? Grandma gasped. You're alive? You haven't changed, you old swindler. They rushed toward each other, locking into an embrace so intense that passers-by started taking bets on whether they would hug or fight. Is this your grandson? Ramsey pointed at Billy. Yes, and we have urgent business. The 3 of them disappeared behind the stall, then slipped through a hidden hatch, descending into an underground kitchen. Under the glow of neon lights, surrounded by thousands of jars, pots, and bubbling concoctions, Billy suddenly realized this was a revolution. You brought the recipe? Ramsey asked, eyes gleaming. Grandma nodded. The Galactic Government is hunting it down. If we don't hide it, it'll be lost forever. Ramsey nodded slowly. Then there's only one solution. We'll make millions of copies. We'll start an underground culinary movement. And no one, N01, will be able to stop it from spreading. Billy gasped. So, you're saying we're... Ramsey turned to him with a conspiratorial grin. We're printing recipe pamphlets. But that's illegal. Exactly. A few hours later, deep underground, a secret printer was already churning out leaflets with bold letters reading, Bake the pie of freedom. Taste it, and make the world a better place. Billy swallowed hard. He didn't know it yet, but in 3 days, these leaflets would be scattered across the galaxy. In a week, the secret recipe would spread to every corner of the universe. And in just a month, the Galactic Government would fall. All because of one pie.